Alright guys, if you ever asked yourself how to do multiple business cards and do them consistently and efficiently so that you can do, 9 of them at a time and save a lot of time on the setup, well, if that's something that you've considered or you've thought about or would be helpful for you, then you might want to watch today's video. So today I've got these business cards. These are anodized aluminum business cards that I get on Amazon, and I'll put a link down below if you're interested. I buy these things by the little bundle like this, and I engrave them to take to events to give to people so that when they come up to my booth, they may not want anything that I have out on display, but they may want something custom ordered, and if they do so, they can grab one of those cards and contact me later and place an order. So I like to make the business cards. I like to get creative with them, and just the business card itself and the way that it's made kind of catches their eye. And they're metallic business cards, so they're really not going anywhere. They can get wet. You can do whatever you want to with them. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. As many of you know, I just recently moved over to the new Atezr L2, but I've got it set up, and that's what we're going to be doing using to do this project. So. Alright guys, so before we start, I want to remind you that all the files that I'm using currently, with the exception of the L2 file, I haven't got it out there yet, still putting the finishing touches on it, but I'm trying to get some stuff ready for this event. The interchangeable jig kit, I make it for multiple machines, from X-Tool, Atom Stack, Enjoy Wood. Most every machine I've ever had my hands on, I have built a kit for, because in order for me to be able to use it in my production, this thing has become a necessity for me. So if you want to go check out my Etsy shop, there'll be a link down below, and see if your machine is supported with this system. And if it's not, then maybe stay tuned, and if I can get my hands on a machine, we can set one up for it. But currently I've got the jigs kit set up on the Atezr L2, and what I've done is I've went ahead and cut the jig panels. I've cut the interlocking jig, placed it on the machine, and I've also cut the jig panel itself, and I've got it in there. That's 2 steps that you've got to do before you go to the item files, guys. People don't understand that. A lot of people try to cut both files at the same time. That is not how it works. Cut the locking panel first, place it on the machine, then cut the jig panel, which is the panel that snaps to the locking panel, and then snap it in place. Once you've done that, guys, then you're going to be at this step. So I'm going to move you over to light burn. Alright, I'm going to call that close enough. Now with this particular machine, I have the capability of making sure that I am focused. So I'm going to focus the machine. You should be able to see that in the other camera. It's pretty nifty little thing they got going on with it. Alright, so machine is focused. I'm going to close my enclosure so that I'm going to get my eyes burned. Alright, now the cuts and layers, you don't have to show these, guys. You don't even really have to frame them. You can just leave those there. You do not want to get rid of those. But what I'm going to do now is burn these shapes. So the setting for that I'm going to be running is going to be 7 millimeters a second with air assist. And yes, this machine has automatic air assist. So we're going to start that up. And I'll be back shortly after this completes, guys. Alright guys, so the file has burned. Alright, so now I have the, I'm going to update this again. I really wish I had my camera adjusted, but I don't. Alright, so I'm going to adjust the, now, what we're going to do now is the circles right here. Those guys, I don't really need them. So once you have burned what you need to burn, you can go in here to get these guys out of your way and just go ahead and delete those guys. All right, you're not going to need those. technically, because I did duplicate the cut and did it as a tool line, this whole thing could go. Now, if you do that, I would recommend, because see now I can show that, and that shows where those lines were. That's going to be my reference for lining everything up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save. Now I'm going to save this as. I'm just going to put, like, I want to name it final because it's finalized. It's ready to use. So I'm going to hit save. So now, guys, the objective of this is these little squares are exactly where those holes were cut. Oh, here we go again. So I'm going to put 4 of them that way, and then I'm going to do 2 rows that way. And I'm going to move my spacing until I get them relatively close. I'm not trying to get them perfect this way. I avoid at all costs having to try to do any calculations. So move those guys up. I just want them in the box. Once I get them in the box, I'm good. All right. So now I am going to do it the hard way, guys. I'm aware, but it requires no math. All right. And I know it's right. And I'm going to save that one. Click the graphic first. That's why I told you to leave the tooling line. Then click the tool line and move it over. Like I said, there's easier ways if you can, do your measurements or remember your measurements or whatever. But once I save this, I will never have to do this again. So I'm not really concerned about it. All right, before I do anything, guys, we'll save this file, save as. I'm going to change this to the Clack Shack. Just renaming the file. All right, so now I've saved this file completely. As long as I put this jig panel back in the exact location that it is now, it'll always be accurate. So there is the file construction. So now I'm going to move over, load some cards, and we'll see what this thing's made of. All right, guys, so I got 8 cards in there. Let me update my overlay. I'm going to have to take time to fix my camera back. But you can see I got 8 cards in there, and boy, is that camera off. So now we are ready to send all 8. And so I've got it set. I can go over the settings with you. 200 millimeters a second, 100% output. I do have it drop in the Z-axis half a millimeter to get to the surface of the cards because they are kind of sitting flat in that little jig. I'm running the LPI at 254, 5% overscan, which is it's going to require about 10 millimeters. That's going to allow me a little more speed. One more thing I want to check. I think I turned it on the other day, but let me check here. I do have white space scan set to 500 millimeters a second. So if you notice that it speeds up between cards, that's what that is. So here we go. Let's close the enclosure here, and let's see how fast this thing can get it done. Alright guys, so that finished up. Let's get them off of here and see what they look like. Alright, same practice guys. I'm going to keep using my little rag here. I'm just going to spray me a little Windex on it and just wipe the surface of these things and get this black soot or what remains of the coating. Go ahead and get it to wipe off here. So you can drive yourself nuts trying to get all the streaks out of these if you're too particular. I am going to try to clean this one really good because I don't want you guys looking at it and thinking that it's not done well. So there we go guys. I just realized the lighting is not letting y'all see these real good, so there we go. I'll try to make sure there's some pictures out there too. But I did 8 of them on that run, and using a jig like this, guys, all I've got to do now is take more cards and just repeat and rinse, just like we did. I don't have to touch anything. Put 8 more cards in there and hit the start button, and that's what I'm going to get. And if you look, the consistency of the cards, I mean, they're identical. Okay, so that's how I make my business cards. You can use other materials too. You can actually use blank paper. Of course, the settings, you're going to have to figure your settings out. But I'm going to sit here and clean these guys up and load some more, and I guess that's what I'm going to be doing tonight, making business cards for the event. So I hope this helped, guys, and if you have any questions, comments, feel free to share those. Also, don't forget, I will be uploading this file at the conclusion of this video, but you can make these yourself, but if you don't want to go through the trouble and you just want the file to be able to do these cards, like I said, go to my Etsy shop, check that out, and also I will drop a link to these particular cards down below so you can find them and you know that they work with this jig. So there you go. Till next time, guys, be safe and have a good day.